Out of my way! A sign? Who cares? I'll run over it again.
Trouble Busters!
La la la. Out of my way! Emily, I made sure I did it again. I saw the model of the car, the color, and the driver as she drove away. I don't think that was me. I know it was you, Madeline. Maybe you're mistaking me with someone else. Helen, remember 4 years ago? This is a new cafe that opened up. You thought that a hair salon was a cafe? Oh, I'm sorry about what happened back then. Anyways, it wasn't me. I wasn't the one who made that shortcut. Oh. She's right that I made that mistake 4 years ago, but I know the driver in that car was Madeline. I decided to ask my husband to install a surveillance camera. I hope this works. I wished I never had to talk to her about this, and I hope this will solve the problem. However, that's Madeline. I went to go check my surveillance recording. Madeline was clearly captured by the camera. I knew she was the culprit. I went to go talk to her for a second time, but Madeline only acted shamelessly. Oh, I see. You installed a camera, huh? Good for you. Okay, I'll be careful next time. She didn't even apologize. She's not sorry for anything. I know things can sometimes get sensitive between neighbors, and that's why I've been trying to be so nice this entire time.
It's time for revenge. I'm not going to forgive her.
I'm not forgiving her for this either.
We're not letting her get away with this. Trouble Busters!
La la la. A sign? Who cares? I'll run over it again. What the heck? What the heck? What the heck? May I help you with something? Help me? Oh, what the heck have you done, huh? Oh my God, what happened? What happened is what you caused. I installed some metal bars to make sure no one was trespassing. Why did you crash into it? I didn't know you installed these stupid bars. How dare you do this? You're going to pay for my car. What? You shouldn't have been trespassing on my private property to begin with. How dare you say that as if this was my fault? I was just driving this street as always. And did I ever give you permission to do that? But you're my neighbor. You're my neighbor, but that doesn't answer my question. You're not supposed to be passing my driveway. It's private property. Oh yeah? Since when is that law effective? When? Oh, I don't know. All I know is that it is the law. If trespassing wasn't against the law, anyone gets to enter anyone else's private property all the time.
Yeah, move forward. Never take a detour no matter what obstacle is in front of you. Keep moving straight forward.
You should only say that if you know for sure. If you don't have your facts straight, it's the equivalent to a fantasy. A fantasy? Why don't I turn it into a reality for you then? And that's another fantasy right there. Ellen, why don't you might as well become a novelist? Stop changing the subject. Oh, who cares about a snowman or two? I know your daughter cheated during the snowman championship to win first place. I'm sure it's easy for her to make one. She never cheated to win that contest. My daughter Emily didn't win the first place, and that only means that your daughter cheated. Anyways, you're paying to replace my car, and I might as well make you and your daughter apologize for cheating during that contest. You're kidding me. Besides, if you refuse, I'm going to call the cops on you. Do it if that's what you want, and I'm going to make you pay for the 12-pound bluefin tuna that you ruined. What? Why would you have a bluefin tuna inside a snowman? I believe Helen did that. Besides, you shouldn't have entered a private property to begin with. Forget it, this conversation isn't getting anywhere. Right back at you.
This is not good. You've trespassed. You ignored the sign. You ruined the snowman and the bluefin tuna. Madeline, you're at fault here.
What? Who do you think you are to say that?
I think I'm the police and I'm just doing my job.
And you're the one who called the police. This isn't fair. You were hiding a metal bar behind a snowman. I don't know anything about that. I believe Helen did that. Your daughter is crazy. I don't know how you raised your child. You don't get to say that. You've been trespassing.
I recommend settling this among yourselves.
Give me a break. Why would I do that? Hurry up and arrest her.
That's not happening. Besides, if I'm going to arrest one of you, it's going to be you, Madeline.
and you're paying $35K for my bluefin tuna. What? A $35K? Who in the world places that much value on an animal that only knows how to swim in the ocean and nothing else? Bluefin tuna is about $3,000 per pound. It's an expensive fish. I'm going to make sure you pay for it. If you're going to talk about an expensive fish, let me tell you that my car is expensive. You're going to pay $50K for my car. No, I'm not. You're the one who will be paying. Officer, we'll take care of this matter on our own. Thank you so much for coming by. Now, if you're not willing to do as I say, I'm going to file a lawsuit. Are you sure? You're not going to win this case. If we take this to the court, you're going to be talking about it, and everyone will know what you've done. Right back at you. You better be ready for this. Madeline was not willing to compromise. She wasn't bluffing either, and she really filed a lawsuit, and I'm ready to do this.
Miss Madeline has entered a private property that she was permitted access to while a metal bar was hidden inside the snow. She ended up crashing into the bar, causing total damage to her vehicle. The fact that the bar was hiding inside the snow shows that the defendant had harming intentions. And we ask for $50,000 to compensate for the damage to the vehicle, along with an apology. Are you sure that Ms. Madeline had permission to enter private property? Ms. Ellen had a signage that warned others not to enter her private property. Do you have anything to say about this?
I believe that sign was for people other than me.
Wouldn't you think that Ms. Ellen would have informed you if she was willing to give you an exception to allow trespassing? The defendant failed to do so, which caused this problem. She is not obligated to do so. If there had been a verbal agreement is something that would only cause a he said, she said situation, while it doesn't prove or justify anything, so let's not forget about that. The fact that the plaintiff ended up with the damages on her vehicle was due to the fact that she chose to disregard the signage that the defendant had placed to warn others not to enter the private property. Therefore, Ms. Ellen is not at fault for the damages. But it would be a different story if there are untrue facts on your side. And there are none. Ms. Ellen had been trying to resolve the issue between herself and the plaintiff. She initially tried to settle this with a discussion to kindly warn her not to enter her private property, while the plaintiff refused to cooperate, which ultimately led her to place the signage. That's not true! The two of them are not strangers. They each have a daughter, and their daughters are classmates. I wonder if someone who makes a signage to warn others not to enter her private property would be willing to let others enter the property. Maybe the defendant made a verbal agreement without thinking of it much.
What? I never gave her permission. Yes, you did. No, I did not. You did. I did not.
Stop it, both of you. There are way too many assumptions, and it is challenging to determine facts. If the prosecutor is unable to provide evidence that there had been a verbal agreement to permit entrance to private property, we shall determine that the accident was caused by trespassing, as the plaintiff had ignored the placed signage and the defendant had no responsibilities for the damages caused on the vehicle.
Your Honor, it is impossible to provide evidence for a verbal agreement that never took place. And we are about to... When we take a look at the petition, the contents are corrupt. It's almost as if a gang is trying to mug some cash off of a civilian on the street.
What did you just say?
And I find it the plaintiff's responsibility to provide evidence that such verbal agreement had taken place. And we were just about to do that! There is no way that any of those will be concrete evidence. The only way you could prove that the verbal agreement had taken place is to provide evidence based on when, where, and how the verbal agreement took place. But we don't have an audio recording or any type of record for that matter. And that's why we're trying to find the truth by confirming all facts. There is no such thing! And I say this because we may provide evidence that the plaintiff had entered the defendant's private property with bad intentions. Here!
Oh God, I knew you were going to play that video.
The plaintiff had repeatedly committed trespass on the property, despite the fact that there had been a sign. And we've been saying that this was because the plaintiff was permitted to enter the property. That's such a terrible argument.
Help me! What the heck have you done, huh? What? You shouldn't have been trespassing in my private property to begin with. How dare you say that as if this was my fault? I was just driving this street as always. And did I ever give you permission to do that? But you're my neighbor. Oh my God, were you recording me?
No matter how many times we listen to this, it's not going to sound like you had permission to enter the property. Oh God, what's going on?
Huh?
I never told lies. You told me that you and the defendant had a verbal agreement. You said that she agreed while she was jealous of you because your daughter is better than her daughter at everything in school. You said that you wished you could get along with Ms. Helen while she would keep acting out of jealousy. You even cried as you told me. But you were lying, weren't you?
That's not exactly true.
Then do you have anything to say about this?
Oh, shut up. Are you going to blame me that you're about to lose this case?
I mean, there's clearly no way to win this case when they provide evidence like that.
Wow, how can you take it out on your lawyer like that? Ever since I realized that talking wouldn't resolve any issues with you, I've been recording every conversation we've had. Oh, don't look at me like that.
And please take a look at this video, too. She's right about to crash into a snowman. Look at her face. She's doing it on purpose.
Stop. I would have wanted you to stop.
Based on the visual and audio recording that we have, it is evident that Ms. Ellen never gave such verbal agreement, while the plaintiff had intentionally crashed into the snowman. Despite the fact that she had been warned not to drive into her private property, the plaintiff had never cooperated while she continued to choose to trespass the property. And she ultimately crashed into the bluefin tuna that was placed inside the snowman.
This case was regarding the damages caused on the plaintiff's vehicle, but it is clear that the plaintiff is at full fault. The petition is rejected, and if there are any objections to this judgment...
I object. I do. I have lots of objections.
Your Honor, would you kindly hold off on the verdict?
That's right. Mr. Thompson, you got this.
We would like to admit to all fault at this time to settle this dispute with Ms. Ellen.
Why would I do that?
I'm only suggesting the best decision you could make in this situation. Once this case is at its verdict, it will stay as an official record.
And isn't it your job to make sure that doesn't happen? What did I hire you for, huh?
You provided false facts regarding the case. How shameless are you?
Of course, I wouldn't want to say what I didn't want to say.
And that's exactly why we're losing this case. Listen, what you're trying to ask for is not going to happen. The more you go after this, you're only going to dig yourself a deeper hole for a lost trial. It's impossible to turn things around at this point. You're a criminal who trespassed private property with harassing intentions just to ultimately get your car wrecked.
How dare you speak to me like that?
And I don't mind if you decide to fire me on the spot. I had only made that suggestion because I was willing to do the best work I could do for your interest.
Are you telling me that woman was a step ahead of me? I would never admit to that.
If you don't admit to it, you're going to simply lose this case, and you'll end up in a bad situation.
Are you threatening me?
If you lose this case, it's only going to be a matter of time before they retaliate against you.
What?
She's going to be filing a lawsuit against you for trespassing her private property, despite the fact that she had a sign to warn you, while you crashed into and damaged a bluefin tuna that was worth $35,000.
$35,000? I'm going to make you pay for it no matter what. No, I'm going to fight back against that.
And that's not possible! You would rather settle this dispute and pay for the bluefin tuna!
No, if I win this case, we'll be even. I won't have to take any penalties.
Your thought process is just like a gambler who's losing money.
$50,000 that I got from life insurance, but I don't need to be afraid of anything as long as I win.
The battle you're about to enter is something that you have absolutely no guarantee that you'd win. You're only relying on luck, and it's never going to go the way you want.
But
And this is going to be the turning point. You're going to be the defendant at this point. If we're going to seek further trial, we're going to file a civil lawsuit against you for property damages. And after the civil trial, it will be a criminal trial.
criminal?
A criminal trial will not only cost you, but it's going to be even further against your interest.
What do you mean?
You'll end up with a criminal record, since most of what you've committed will likely be considered misdemeanor rather than felony. You probably won't end up being in prison, but a record is a record. How would your daughter feel if she finds out that you have a criminal record? And what about your husband? Make sure you think carefully before you make a decision on how to proceed.
To be honest, I'm touched with how Mr. Thompson still tries to help you out with the best course of action, despite the fact that he was told false facts upon taking on this trial. And you're taking that for granted. What a shame! I'm only going to do whatever it takes to give you the biggest damage possible out of what you've done. You can't talk to me like that! Okay, I guess this is over.
Indeed, it's over. If you aren't willing to take any of my advice, that is completely fine. The verdict will be what it is, and there is nothing I could do at this point.
Huh, you're such a useless lawyer. Don't ever show me your face again.
As you wish.
So now I would like to state the verdict.
Of course, Madeline lost this trial, despite the fact that she no longer has a lawyer to help her out. I would like to appeal. Madeline still hasn't given up, but the judge rejected her appeal. Her attacks were finally over, and what the heck? Now it was our turn. She was asked to compensate for the damages she caused by trespassing and crashing into my bluefin tuna.
The defendant is found liable to pay $35,000 to the plaintiff.
Oh my God! And we won the case, while we were still on a strong momentum. Oh my God, now the criminal trial. Ellen filed a police report. We moved on to the criminal trial, and of course the judge decided
The defendant is sentenced to 1 year of imprisonment with 3 years of parole.
oh no! And that's how Madeline ended up with a $35,000 debt along with a criminal record. And then we found her. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I'm willing to pay for the tuna, but would you please help me out so I won't end up with a criminal record? It's too late. The court already reached the verdict. Oh, I should have listened to Mr. Thompson. It was completely too late. All she had was to go downhill with her life, and she had no choice. As we all know what was about to happen, Madeline's husband and daughter were quite furious to find out about this.
I can't believe you let this happen without telling me any of this. I'm breaking up with you.
How dare you crash Helen's snowman? I don't want to see you ever again.
But, let me explain.
We're breaking up.
Go away.
No, but I only wanted to do it for you, Emily. The revenge mission that Madeline was on to crash Helen's snowman had ultimately shattered everything she had in life. What goes around comes around. Madeline had no choice but to go back to live with her parents with a $35,000 debt, a criminal record, divorce status, and disowned by her daughter. I heard that her parents are not taking it well, and they're keeping a close eye on her to make sure she pays back for the debt and to atone her sins. Oh, I don't even know how many years I'll be spending to pay back this money. As for me, I've been stress-free more than ever after living with peace in mind that no one is trespassing my property. And no more snowman destroyers, too. My daughter is making another snowman today.
Do you want to build a snowman?
Hey, Helen, don't do that! Troublebusters!